Ever get that creepy, crawly feeling like something's on your skin, but when you check, there's absolutely nothing there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Happens to everyone, I think.
Well, today we're going deep on a condition that takes that feeling to an entirely different level. It's called delusional parasitosis.
A fascinating one for sure.
This deep dive is going to be based on what we learned from pest control pros and dermatologists. So get ready for some seriously strange insights into the human mind.
And maybe you'll even learn a thing or two about yourself along the way.
So first things first, what exactly is delusional parasitosis, or DP?
Well, it's this unshakable belief that you're infested with parasites, like no matter what, even if there's zero evidence.
And we're not just talking about a little itch, right?
Right, this is way beyond that. People with DP, they feel like bugs are crawling under their skin, biting them. Some even see parasites coming out of their bodies.
That's got to be incredibly disturbing.
Oh, absolutely. It causes immense distress and anxiety. Imagine feeling that constantly.
So if someone's going through this, where do they usually turn for help?
Often, their first stop is either a pest control expert or a dermatologist. They're convinced it's a physical problem.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And here's the thing. These folks, they're not faking it. They truly believe they have a real infestation.
So they're having a genuine experience, even if it's not based in reality.
Exactly. And they'll even bring evidence to these appointments. Things like dust, lint, or skin flakes, anything that kind of supports their belief.
Wow. So how do professionals even begin to approach this? It must be tough to convince someone that their very real experience might actually be a delusion.
It is, and that's one of the biggest challenges with DP. It's incredibly difficult to get someone to consider a psychological explanation when they're so convinced it's a physical issue.
And what happens if they don't receive the right kind of help? Are there consequences to leaving DP untreated?
Oh, yeah, there can be. It can get pretty serious. Some people, they scratch so much trying to get rid of the bugs that they end up with open sores and infections.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there's also the risk of pesticide misuse. People trying all sorts of harsh chemicals, thinking they're fighting off an infestation, when it's really all in their minds. It can be dangerous.
This really underscores how powerful the mind can be and how delusion can actually manifest in physical ways.
Absolutely. And while we often link DP to psychological factors, there's growing evidence that it might also be tied to things like neurological issues, past trauma, or even social isolation.
So it's complex.
Definitely not a simple, it's all in your head situation. It's multifaceted.
Okay, so if it's not as straightforward as it might seem, how do experts actually go about diagnosing delusional parasitosis?
Well, there are specific criteria they follow. First and foremost, they got to rule out any actual physical causes like real parasites or skin conditions.
Makes sense.
They'll also look at how long the belief has been going on and how intense it is. Is it constant? Does it consume their thoughts? Stuff like that.
So it's a careful process.
Oh, yeah, not something you just diagnose on the spot. And this is important. We're diving deep into DP today, but neither of us are medical professionals.
Right, of course.
So if any of this is ringing a bell for you, please talk to a doctor or a therapist. They're the ones who can give you the right guidance.
Absolutely. Now, for those listening who might know someone struggling with DP, what are some of the ways it can be treated?
Well, it can be tough, but therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, have shown some really promising results. CBT helps folks understand and manage their thoughts and behaviors.
So it's not just about tackling the delusion head on, but giving them the tools to cope with it.
Exactly. It empowers them to regain control over their lives.
Wow. So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you really want our listeners to remember about delusional parasitosis?
I'd say remember that this is a real condition with real consequences. It highlights how amazingly powerful our minds are, but also reminds us that it's crucial to seek help when we're facing something unusual or distressing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And on that note, here's a final thought for everyone listening. We all get those phantom itches sometimes, right? But imagine if that feeling never went away, never stopped. Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you realize how much our perceptions shape our reality.
Yeah, food for thought.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.
See ya.